The vilified scoundrel Richard B. Riddick finds himself stranded on an unknown planet while he's hunted by bounty hunters, and he has no choice but to survive. This is Riddick.
Don't know how many times I've been crossed off the list and left for dead. So this ain't nothing new. Bounty hunters.
I've been hunting Riddick for 10 years.
He's the most dangerous man we've ever tracked.
Hey, before Jake reviews Riddick, I've never seen any of the other movies, but I saw it, and I thought it was ridiculous. I didn't know what the hell I was watching. I didn't get it. I have nothing to say.
As a fan of Riddick, I'm still going to try and look at this, from a not fanboy perspective. The original Pitch Black was a fantastic movie. I loved it. It was tense, it was dark, and it had a great character, Vin Diesel's Riddick. And then Chronicles of Riddick kind of took things up to 11, but not in a very excellent way. I liked it because it expanded the universe and it made a Riddick universe, which is actually a really cool sci-fi expansive universe. But the thing is that it kind of took what Batman Begins was Pitch Black, and then Chronicles of Riddick was Batman and Robin. So now Riddick is out, and it is a perfect merger of the two things. And if, you are one of the rare few fans of this series or franchise, you are going to find a lot to love about Riddick. It's not perfect, but it's a lot of fun for fans, and it has, a good entertainment value. And now while Riddick was a lot of fun to see and watch Vin Diesel do all these amazing things, it doesn't feel as, epic and grand as, Chronicles of Riddick, or even the video game, which actually turns out to be better than any of the movies. But it feels more of another wacky adventure in the day of the life of Riddick. So, take that for what you will. Some people don't really like an episodic feel to their movies. For this, it worked pretty perfectly. Now, the beginning of the movie starts out with Riddick, a few years after the Chronicles of Riddick, and he's screwed over, he's stranded on a planet, he doesn't know what it is, and for a solid, I'd say half hour of the movie, we just see Riddick surviving, Riddick being Riddick, honing his stuff again, learning how to survive, live off the land on this desert planet, and it's really freaking cool. Now, this desert planet does look very green screeny at times, but and it all sometimes looks a little cheap. But what I loved about the overall look of the movie was that it looks like really cool sci-fi concept art. I've been following this movie forever, and back when they were releasing concept art, I was like, holy crap, this looks really cool. If the movie looks like this, it'll be awesome. And sure enough, it does. There's a lot of shots of just, Vin Diesel just standing there being awesome, with a moon and a sun behind him, and his space dog, being badass next to him. Okay, there's one thing that they added to the movie. Riddick has a companion. It's like a dog lemur thing from space, and it looks like crap because this is a low-budget movie, kind of. The CGI is pretty awful at times. And for those coming to see Karl Urban, he's in the movie for probably a little 30 seconds in a flashback. That's not really a spoiler. He shows up, he's wearing eyeliner, he's like, I'm Karl Urban, and then it's over. So, sorry. Now, the middle of this movie did slow down a little bit for me, and I found it the least enjoyable, but it does set up, it brings in more normal sci-fi elements into the, fray. Bounty hunters come to get Riddick, and they're very cool, they're very gritty, they're very marine-y. It reminds me a lot of, Aliens, the group of, ragtag soldiers who all have their own little personalities. Dave Bautista, in particular, was actually pretty fantastic, and Katee Sackhoff was interesting. She was kind of like the tough chick. She wasn't bad, none of them really had a lot to work with, and honestly, the dialogue was awful. It just, that was what drove... The only thing I really didn't like about this movie was anytime any of them were speaking. That being said, anything Riddick ever said was awesome, perfectly well written for the character. Anytime Vin Diesel opened his mouth, he had something really cool to say, but it was that perfect blend of, really cool, but also really cold, but knowing he's hot shit. It's hard to explain the way Riddick says things. It's very villainous. He comes off basically a villain. And that's what makes, Riddick so awesome. Vin Diesel, as always, owns this character. He really is Riddick. And, you know, even if you're not really too into these movies, and if you do think they are kind of crappy, Vin Diesel himself punching things and stabbing things and saying cool stuff, I think is worth the price of admission alone. But that's just me, coming off as, you know, Vin Diesel's #1 fan. The movie does get very formulaic and predictable, and you can see a lot of things coming, and it does adopt a lot of elements from the original Pitch Black, which is absolutely fine, because it is a bit of a return to form. And the coolest part is that little things from Pitch Black do actually manage to carry over into this, which I didn't think they were going to do, but they pulled it off pretty well. It's very small, it's very subtle, but it worked. The last few scenes in particular in the rain, there's a really cool scene when Vin Diesel's character and one other guy face off against hordes of aliens in the dark, in the rain, with lightning flashes, and I thought it looked really incredible. It was a really cool action scene. You probably saw it in the trailer, unfortunately, it's a little spoiled, but it was a lot of fun. So all I can really say about Riddick is that if you're a fan of the original things, the original movies, this is definitely right up your alley. You know, if you do like just kind of like crazy, ridiculous, stupid action movies, you might like this. You might also kind of feel like it's a dark and gritty John Carter. It's kind of like John Carter if you're not into these types of things. And if you don't know anything about these, I really can't recommend you seeing it, because not only will this not really bring you in very well, you'll also probably hate it. You'll just think it's terrible. But if you've seen the other two, and maybe you've even played the game and expanded your Riddick universe palette, you're gonna go into this and you're gonna love seeing what you get, because this is fan service. This movie basically is fan service for all 10 of us. Those guys, you guys should check it out for that reason alone. So that's what I gotta say about Riddick. You guys can check out our other reviews on the side of movies that you might like a little more. I don't know, but you know, we really should talk in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about Riddick if you saw it. How do you feel about the character? How do you feel where they took him, and where do you think they're going to take him next? Because obviously it's set up for another one, which I can't wait. You know, so let me know anything you want about Riddick, and that is pretty much it.
You're not afraid of the dark, are you?